In the heart of a German city, there's this church that is so ambitious, it took over 500 years to finish, and get this, it still holds a world record today. This isn't just a story about stone and glass, nope. It's a story about a community that basically decided to build something that would literally scrape the sky. So let's dive in and uncover the incredible secrets of the Ulmer Münster.
Right. So when you think of giant German churches, your mind probably jumps to the famous Cologne Cathedral, right? Well, it's not the tallest. The Ulmer Münster actually surpasses it, holding the title of the tallest church in the entire world for over 130 years now. It's just massive.
Just let that number sink in for a second. 161.53 meters. That's about the height of a 50-story building. To this day, no church tower has ever been built taller. So the big question is, how did a relatively small city create such a giant? And what other secrets is it hiding?
Okay, so here's what we're going to explore. We've already touched on its world record, but then we'll get into who really built it. And that's a surprise. We'll solve a common mix-up about its name, check out the incredible art hidden inside, and then we'll finish with a local legend that just perfectly captures the city's unique spirit. Maybe the biggest surprise isn't even the church's height. It's who paid for it. The story of its funding completely turns what you'd imagine for these medieval mega-projects completely on its head.
I mean, you'd think so, wouldn't you? A structure this grand, costing an absolute fortune, and taking centuries to build, surely it had to have the backing of the most powerful people around. A king, maybe an emperor, or even the Pope himself.
And that's where you'd be wrong. The Ulmer Münster was started, paid for, and pushed forward almost entirely by the regular citizens of Ulm. This wasn't some top-down command from a king or a pope. It was a bottom-up dream of an entire community.
And believe me, this was no short-term project. The foundation stone was laid way back in 1377. Construction went on for generations. It even survived the Reformation, when the citizens themselves voted for it to become Protestant in 1530. And it wasn't officially done until 1890. That's a commitment of over 500 years. Just think about that.
This is so central to its whole identity that there's a special word for it, a Bürgerkirche, or citizens' church. And this unique beginning explains a really cool architectural detail. You won't find a crypt for burying kings or bishops inside. Why? Because it was never their church. It belonged completely to the people, which was a huge statement of independence back in an age of princes and powerful clergy.
And this whole idea of a citizen's church leads us to another key detail. Because of its sheer size, most people just call it the Ulm Cathedral. But technically, that's not right. So let's clear up this common little mix-up.
So what's the difference? Well, it really boils down to one thing. A cathedral, or a Dom in German, is the official home base for a bishop. The Ulmer Münster, even though it's absolutely colossal, never was one. It was always a Münster, which just means a large parish church. It's a small detail, sure, but it's totally rooted in its history, as a church built for and by its citizens.
So let's get the specs right. The full official name is Münster unserer lieben Frau zu Ulm, or Münster of Our Dear Lady in Ulm. It's built with a clever mix of materials. The huge wall surfaces are made of more economical brick, while all the structural edges and those magnificent towers are carved from sandstone. And while we always focus on that one giant west tower, there are actually 3 towers in total.
Okay, as absolutely breathtaking as the outside is, the story does not stop at the doors. The second you step inside its massive walls, you find centuries of world-class art and some numbers that are just staggering.
Take a look at this number, 20,000. That was the church's capacity. Before they installed pews, the huge main hall could hold an unbelievable 20,000 people standing. That was pretty much the entire population of the whole region back in the Middle Ages. Today, this seating is a more manageable 2,000.
So, who was responsible for filling this immense space with so much beauty? Well, as you might expect from a project this ambitious, the citizens of Ulm brought in some of the most famous master artists of their day to leave their mark.
And here are just a few of the greats. You've got Jörg Serlin the Elder, whose team carved these absolutely mind-blowing oak choir stalls. Then there's Hans Ocker, a master of light and color, who did the stunning St. George stained glass window, and Martin Schaffner, who painted the main altar right on the edge of the Reformation, which is like capturing a pivotal moment in history on canvas. Now, this quote here really highlights what makes those choir stalls so amazing. These aren't just your typical religious carvings. Jörg Serlin created this incredible mix of the sacred and the secular.
Right alongside biblical figures, he carved symbols, ancient poets, and classical philosophers. It was a true Renaissance celebration of all human wisdom, right there in the heart of a church.
All right, for our final section, let's go from the ground floor all the way to the top and uncover a charming piece of folklore that really tells you everything you need to know about the people of Ulm.
So if you visit today, you can actually climb this incredible structure. The journey up is this winding stone staircase of 768 steps. Yeah, it's a bit of a workout, but the reward is one of the most spectacular views in all of Europe. On a clear day, your gaze can stretch all the way to the majestic Alps on the horizon. It's unreal.
But while you're taking in that incredible view, you might notice a symbol all around the city, and even on the church roof, a sparrow. So why on earth is this little bird immortalized on the world's tallest church?
Well, it all comes from this wonderful local legend known as the Ulmer spots, the Ulm sparrow. The story goes that the original builders were completely stumped. They had this massive wooden beam they couldn't get through the narrow city gate. As they were standing there debating, they saw a sparrow fly to its nest carrying a long twig, and it turned the twig lengthwise to fit it in. In a flash, the builders realized their simple, obvious mistake.
And just like that, the humble sparrow became a symbol of the cleverness, the ingenuity, and the problem-solving spirit of the citizens of Ulm. It perfectly captures the theme of the Münster itself. It's a story of regular people accomplishing an extraordinary thing through sheer determination and, well, being smart about it.
Which kind of brings us to our final thought here. The Ulmer Münster is so much more than a record holder. It's a testament to civic pride and a kind of persistence that spans generations. It really makes you wonder, if one community could rally together to build this over centuries, what seemingly impossible things could we be inspired to build today?